different. It's super stripped down. So raw. I really like Miss. We haven't done this now, so ready? Yeah, y'all worship with us. Promise to there's something that's started in me. I decide you're on. Breaking out, I can never. Breaking out, I can never. Rolling my soul. You're enough for me. You are for me. I was only wanting you right now. Let's put everything together and watch it show. Just a touch, I have held towards surrender. Forever lost. You restore every part that is broken. Great are every part that is broken. Light to the dark, light that is broken. Great are the breath in our lungs, the breath in our lungs, for our praise, the breath in our lungs, for our praise, the breath in our lungs, for our praise, praise, the breath in our lungs, for our praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, are you, Lord. Thank you for the to worship you in this time. God, I thank you for the ability to strip down for God, I thank you. God, I pray that your spirit resides in this place. God, I pray that your spirit resides in this place. That you're amongst me for everything done and doing everything with it. And for everything Though I know doing everything will do. It's my precious and holy name. Everybody say, Amen. It's my precious and everybody say, Amen.
Yeah. So how many of you guys have seen those videos before? Anybody seen that before? I'm sorry, it just made me laugh. Part of that was to make you all smile, because I feel like these days we don't always have a ton to smile about. The word for 2020 should probably be social. Funny how different people have different priorities. We had a bus driver last night. Both my games were away. We had a game last night. We had a game tonight. And last night, the bus driver didn't care if my girls wore their masks on the bus or not. Like, they were far enough away. They all go sit in the back of the bus. It was fine. And then tonight, the bus driver made point to tell me my girls didn't have their masks on the bus. It wasn't a priority to have that argument, which was really cool because it led to a conversation that I won't get into. Where I had a chance to talk to her about Christ here on the way home on the bus. It wasn't a priority for me to have that argument, which was really cool because it led to a conversation that I won't get into. Where I had a chance to talk to her about Christ here on the way home on the bus. And she said, I want to bring my husband and I want to sit down with you. Where I had a chance to talk to her about Christ here on the way home on the bus. And she said, I want to bring my husband and I want to sit down with you. And listen, Matt, just wasn't a priority for me to have that argument, which was really cool because it led to a conversation that I won't get into. Where I had a chance to not in my notes. It's literally just happened. She said, I want to talk to you about something that's happened in our life that another pastor who I know personally and I'm friends with, not on staff at this church, but that I know personally and I'm friends with, that has wronged them and has hurt them. And they said, we just don't know what to do. And we need to understand why this is going on. And it was just kind of a crazy pickup tonight in Scripture is where we're finding the nation of Israel. God is asking them to readjust. I see it, right? I can't remember. I can't find my notes right now because I'm blind. But anyway, that's the problem with turning 50 is you lose your vision. You need my readers right now so I can see things. All right, but this is where we find Israel at. They've just been taken into captivity because their priorities are whack. Started to worship other gods and started to worship idols, and they started to do all of these things. Has let them be taken captive. And not only has he let them be taken captive, it wasn't like when they were in Egypt where they were all pretty close together. He scattered them throughout the Babylonian. They can be a mighty force and a mighty tribe. They are, and this is a promise that he gives them. One in 3 schools, and divisions 2 schools, 2 schools, and even one division 1. So I go back and I just began to listen, and it got quiet. And I'll be honest with you, how many of us have a hard time when you're doing your devotions or you're reading Scripture, just be still and listening? Does anybody have that problem? Yeah, it's hard, right? I can remember there's a comedian. You take the time. That was I actually played when I was 16 against a very famous future Hall of Fame baseball player. That was my life. My son and his friends pick on me because I actually played when I was 16 against a very Derek Jeter. Derek was from Kalamazoo. He played for the Kalamazoo Maroons. My son and his friends pick on me because I actually played when I was 16 against a very Derek Jeter. Derek was from Kalamazoo. He played for the Kalamazoo Maroons. He's 15 and 16. He's a year. Do you remember him? Do you remember playing him? No, I don't remember playing him. Was he really good? The whole team was good. If Gary's playing for you, he's pretty good. I mean, he was in the majors as a 20-year-old. College as a 20-year-old. Not even playing more, but we'll get that. It was baseball. And anything that interfered in God, I was enslaved to the priority of playing baseball. I would play 25 games. God, I was enslaved to the priority of playing baseball. I would play 35 games. So that's my priority enslaved me to a point that I didn't care what God said. This was my plan. The second thing is sometimes your priorities will take you to places you don't want to be. Your priorities are friendships you shouldn't have, or boyfriends you know you shouldn't be in a relationship with, or parties you know you should, or words you know you hear. Baseball. I can take the whole history and I'll try to be brief. I'm back home to go to the Mental World Series on my home field, and we're playing Jeter's team, game 2. In game 1, the night we're getting ready to leave another team, and you guys are going to sit this weekend. And then he says, Matt, I need you to stay around. And right before I had gone to church camp, my high school coach, my summer league coach, same man, long story short, there was an argument between, I called Chad, who was younger than me, and I said, just play your game. And Coach Neitzer and his son Kev had gotten to Chad and said, the only thing you need to tell Coach Spangler is that Matt called you both babies. So home, I tell my dad's like, I'm calling Coach. I'm like, Dad, don't call Coach. Don't call Coach. Don't call Coach. I'm fine. I'm just not going to play my senior year. I do this. And I said, but Dad, it's fine. He's like, it's not fine. So Dad calls Coach, asked him about what happened. And he said, did you bother to ask any other parent? I said, from, because Matt's the one that shut it down. And after this, he's done playing for you. Coach kind of backed off. And what I did was before my dad called, our other catcher, Sean Goodwin, his dad, so he'd gotten ripped by both, but I had went on, had a tournament, got to look at me now in spring. He's to put on weight. So I went in the weight room and I killed it. I could squat 4 cuts my senior year of high school. We had a sub, and the one Division I school said he needs to put on 20 pounds of muscle between now and spring. The second time I dunk, the rim springs in them, and they're called breakaway rims, and they were just starting. They had just been, if you know anything about recruiting, the minute the Division I school heard I was hurt, they moved. I'm a number. That's all I am. So I went to Mount Vernon, and the coach is still there, actually, same coach, 25, 30 years later at Mount Vernon. His name's Keith Veal. He's a good man, good coach. He said, well, I'm like, oh. At Mount Vernon, his name's Keith Veal. He's a good man, good coach. Mount Vernon to catch. And something happened where I injured my wrist. There's a inside here, it's like a little triangle, and it's where you turn your wrist over. And I was never in as a hitter. I just never got right. And Coach Veal, he goes, how hard did Dad throw? Dad said he threw really hard. I don't believe that. Man, Dad, he goes, how hard did Dad throw? You see me.